Hare Krishna. I welcome everybody to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we have a special session on Jagannath Rath Yatra. Today we have a speaker, Balaram Hari Prabhu, to enlighten us on topic of this Jagannath Rath Yatra. We are very fortunate to have you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining and giving your valuable time and association. Please take over the call, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Actually, this was a last minute change. His Grace Kirti Damataji was scheduled to give a talk today. However, because of something that came up last night, she asked me to come on the call and talk about the pastimes of the Jagannath Rath Yatra, and so this pastime, it has many ways and many things that one can talk about this. So I would like to mention a couple of things, actually 2 items, and if possible 3, related to Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra, and some of the things that can help us and inspire us in our own Krishna consciousness. So will that be okay? So the first...
Please. Thank you so much for accepting in the last minute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the first thing would be, what are how did this Rath Yatra basically began? And it is said that Krishna, when he was 16 years old, he left Vrindavan. And when he left Vrindavan, just imagine, he had the best time. Any person who was in the same shoes would say that I had the best time in Vrindavan. I had such loving parents, amazing friends, and supermost relationships with the gopis, the conjugal relationships. There was nothing missing. Everything was perfect. But you know, Krishna is known as Bhagavan, and he has 6 opulences. And one of the opulences is he's the supreme renunciate. So when the time came, he left everything and he went to Dwarka, and he went to Mathura and later to Dwarka. So while he was there, while he was leaving, the gopis never wanted Krishna to leave. So, but still, Krishna and Balaram left because Akrura was there, the ambassador sent by Kamsa. And then later, so all the residents of Vrindavan, they were living, after Krishna left, they were living in great separation. The description has been given that it was very difficult for them to continue to live. So, however, after many years, they got a chance to see Krishna. And they got a chance to see Krishna in Kurukshetra. Krishna came to Kurukshetra with his whole big family. Now he was living in Dwarka. He had 16,108 wives, and with each wife, he had 10 sons and 1 daughter. So just imagine how big was Krishna's family. They all came to Kurukshetra. And the residents of Vrindavan, anticipating a meet to go and meet Krishna, they also went to Kurukshetra. And there, the damsels of Vrindavan, the gopis, they had a chance to meet Krishna. And when they met Krishna this time, they were so excited that they never wanted to leave back. And when Krishna was going back after meeting them at Kurukshetra, the gopis actually held the chariot of Krishna. Just imagine this. They never wanted to allow him to go back. So this is the mood of the Rath Yatra that we have. In Jagannath Puri, there is Jagannath Puri is an Aishwarya Dham. In a sense, it is very opulent. But in Jagannath Puri, there is a small temple called Gundicha temple. And this Gundicha temple represents Vrindavan. And in Rath Yatra, the Lord leaves the main temple, the main mandir, sits on the chariot, the devotees pull the chariot, and the chariot is taken to Gundicha temple. So this is the mood is that let's take the Lord from his place of opulence, you can call it Dwarka or Jagannath Puri, and take him to Vrindavan, that is the Gundicha temple. So that is the mood of this Rath Yatra. However, having said that, this is the understanding. In the main temple, the Lord is being worshipped in Swakiya Bhav, that is with awe and reverence. Mahalakshmi, Mother Rukmini, and all the wives of Krishna are serving him. Just imagine if you have a spouse that is very loving and that is very respectful and takes care of everything for you. You would be really, really attracted by the spouse. However, if there is someone more attractive than him or her, and you leave the company of your spouse just to go to that other person, that is much more superior. And that is what Krishna exhibits when he leaves the main temple and goes to the Gundicha temple, where it is said he accompanies the gopis, where he is accompanied with the gopis of Vrindavan. So this is one of the beauty, of the Rath Yatra temple, of the Rath Yatra festival. However, having said that, this is one of the internal reasons we can say of having this pastime of Rath Yatra. And before Rath Yatra, there are 15 days of Anuswara where Lord Jagannath falls sick. And again, yes, where it is said, there is an annual festival before the Rath Yatra called the Snana Yatra, where there is a bathing given to Lord Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. I was fortunate when I used to live in Washington, D.C. I was very fortunate. Every year we would go to the Baltimore temple and we would bathe the deities of Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. And so the Snana Yatra festival is again very special, where every devotee gets a chance to bathe the deities of Lord Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. And then it is said that Lord Jagannath falls sick. So when he fell sick, he doesn't go back to the altar. He goes to his internal quarters and spends 15 days with Mother Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, with his wife. Actually, while I was reading this pastime, it just came to my mind that, Lord Jagannath is teaching us a lesson in one way, I can say, is one should take 2 weeks off and spend time with one's spouse and family. it's just a thought that came to my mind. I'm just sharing. But however, having so he spends 15 days where Mother Lakshmi is serving very nicely, and nobody else is there to disturb. But this can be looked in another way, that Lord Jagannath disappears from the eyes of his devotees, and he does that just to increase the intensity and love for him. One can take a look at this pastime in a different way. And how can I say this? Because this happened in the first canto. We see Narad Muni in his previous life as a 5-year-old boy. He left his house, left his mother, and the mother passed away, left his house, and then he was meditating. And then the Lord, he appeared to him, but just for a very brief time. And then he told Narad Muni, the little boy, that I have appeared just to increase your intensity. And this increase in intensity is very, very important, because when we increase our intensity and eagerness to approach the Lord, to serve the Lord, to approach his devotees, to serve his devotees and the spiritual master, we actually overcome our anarthas. And that is very, very important. And this is how the Lord really works. He increases our intensity so that we can overcome our anarthas and we can get rid of sinful activities. So after 15 days, where he was being served very nicely, he said, I'll come back in a few days. I'll come back in a day. Let me go. And then he comes out on this big Rath Yatra procession, goes to the Gundicha temple. And at the Gundicha temple, he lives there for 5 days. They said he lives there for 5 days. Mother Lakshmi is bewildered why the Lord hasn't come back after 1 day as he had promised. And so she goes with her servants, and then there is a big fight between the servants of Mother Mahalakshmi and servants of Lord Jagannath. Then the negotiation happens, and then she orders that the Lord should come back after a day. And then the Lord goes there after 2 or 3 days. I think that festival is called Hera Panchami. They take the carts back to the temple. However, there are 2 things that we need to again look at this festival, especially as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I was actually reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita for this class. It's Madhya Leela chapter 13, the ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Rath Yatra. Now just imagine, now another reason of Rath Yatra, another explanation of Rath Yatra that is given is and this is something that I'm pretty sure every one of you have heard, is in Kali Yuga, people are hesitant to go to the temple because of many reasons. They may be busy, they may have many other responsibilities, they may feel that this is something from a different sect or any other reasons, and they don't go to the temple or the church or the mosque. Excuse me, but the Lord is very, very kind enough in Kali Yuga on all the living entities. And so the Lord comes out once a year to bestow his mercy on all the devotees or on all the people in general. So this is one very common explanation that we might have heard when we came to Krishna consciousness or when we heard about Rath Yatra. And that is true. So the Lord comes out every year, once a year, to bestow his mercy on people who don't come to see him. And that is the beauty. This is the merciful nature of the Lord. We are parts and parcels of the Supreme. Krishna says in the Gita, Umayavamshe Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. But this is, we may forget that relationship, but the Lord doesn't. So he comes out once a year. And it is said that anybody who sees Lord Jagannath on the chariot at least once in his lifetime, you won't have to take birth again. You won't have to take birth again. Anybody who pulls the chariot of Lord Jagannath, he doesn't have to take birth again, it is said. So this is the merciful nature of the Lord, that he comes, and we see, as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see the preparation that was done by Lord Chaitanya himself. Now, if you see, as I was reading this chapter, the ecstatic dancing of the Lord at Rath Yatra, it occurred to me that before the Rath Yatra festival, the actual day of the Rath Yatra festival, a couple of days prior to that, is the festival of Gundicha Marjanam. Gundicha Marjanam means cleaning of the Gundicha temple. And this cleaning of Gundicha temple, the Lord himself is doing this. And I highly encourage all of you to please read these chapters. The description is very, very beautiful. And the purports given by Prabhupada are very, very sweet. In the Gundicha temple, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself is cleaning the temple. Now, again, a lesson that we can learn is when we do service, menial services, like cleaning the temple, washing the pots, cleaning the toilets, the Lord will personally clean our hearts. Now, what does it mean when the Lord cleans our hearts? It means cleaning the heart with all the different misgivings. And the root of that is passion and ignorance. Tata rajas tamo bhava kama lobha dayasche chetayete rana viddham stitam satve prasidati. That these things, they are gone when the heart is purified. This urge of passion and ignorance is destroyed. Lust and greed, which symbolizes passion and ignorance, they are gone. And that is needed. And we can see this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he cleaned the temple of Gundicha along with his associates. And while cleaning of the temple, there was constant chanting of Hari, 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 Hari. They passed on the containers of water by chanting Hari, Hari. So this constant chanting of the names of the Lord, along with the cleaning services, the menial services, one can really get the great mercy of the Lord. And we can see this later in this chapter also. In chapter 13, the ecstatic dancing of Lord at Rath Yatra, we can clearly see that when someone takes up some menial services for the pleasure of the Lord, not for feeding one's pride that I did this service, but for the pleasure of the Lord really bestows mercy upon that person. Now, for us, a tangible way we can see that we have received this mercy, it is directly proportional to the amount of taste one develops in chanting and hearing. It is the amount of mercy one gets. It is very directly related to the taste one develops in hearing and chanting Krishna Katha. And this is the beauty. We should never forget this. And we should actually work on that goal, that we should develop a taste for hearing and chanting. I really admire all the people who are regular on this call, that they have a taste, because you have such wonderful speakers who come and attend and give classes here, sannyasis and brahmacharis and other elevated Vaishnavas. This is the mercy of the Lord. Mercy of the Lord is not that he will give you a nice big bank balance. Yes, in one sense, the Lord can bestow that. But the biggest mercy that Lord gives is this taste for Krishna consciousness, especially taste in hearing and chanting Krishna Katha. So, having said that, the person who did the menial service at the festival of Rath Yatra was King Prataprudra. Now, the title king itself, king and sannyasi, they don't go together well. King means that he is always surrounded with wealth, women, thinking of dollars, pounds, and shillings, as Prabhupada mentions, and maintaining a whole family of affairs. However, sannyasi is exactly the opposite. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never met the king. He was never inclined that he would meet with a person who deals with money. So he never wanted. However, the king was also a very great devotee of the Lord. And being a great devotee of the Lord, he realized, I could take mercy from Lord Chaitanya, not as a king, but as a menial servant of Lord Jagannath. So what was the menial service that he did? He took up the broom with a golden handle, as Chaitanya Charitamrita says, and then he was cleaning the street of Jagannath Puri as the Lord was as the Rath, the chariot carrying the Lord, was moving forward. And this menial service really pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when the Lord was pleased, he gave the mercy to King Prataprudra, and Prataprudra could understand that Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are none different. And they both are having their ecstatic pastimes in this Rath Yatra. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was dancing in front of the Rath, but looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance, Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself, was very pleased. And sometimes, in order to see the dancing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord would stop the movement of the chariot and he would just stand still to look at the dancing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And King Prataprudra had received the mercy, so he could understand this is the mysticism of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. Just imagine this. And by his mystical potency, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 7 groups of kirtan parties that were chanting and dancing around the Rath Yatra. And at that time, by his mystical potency, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expanded himself into 7 different forms. And he joined each one of these parties. And all the members in their individual party felt that they were so blessed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing just with them. But his expansions could only be seen by his very confidential associates, which included King Prataprudra also. So, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this pastime, we can learn a couple of things. The first thing is, in order to get that excitement for receiving the Lord, they had to engage in some menial service so that they could please the Lord. So that is why Gundicha cleaning, their hearts were so clean, and now they were so excited to receive the Lord. Sometimes we may attend a festival, but excitement may be lacking. And that is a signal that the Lord is giving us, that we need to clean our hearts. And that cleaning of hearts may take place with service and Krishna Katha and chanting the holy names without any offenses. And then there will be excitement. And when there is excitement, there is ecstatic dancing. And the Lord is really pleased with it. We can see this. So this is how the Rath Yatra festival takes place. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pulls the Lord, pulls the chariot, and the chariot is taken to the Gundicha temple. And along there, on the way, there are beautiful gardens on the route to the Gundicha temple. And in one of the gardens, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes some rest. And at that time, King Prataparudra visits Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sings a few verses from the Gopi Geet. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shri Madatakam Bhugrinantite Purida Jana. And with this whole mood, the humility of Prataparudra, he pleases Lord Chaitanya to no extent. And Lord Chaitanya embraces him. Just imagine this. What a blessing and what mercy King Prataparudra receives. So this is a very beautiful description given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I highly encourage all of you to go ahead and read the whole description. The 7 parties are led by 7 different leaders. We have Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, and let me find out, I forgot the whole name. There is a big list, it says. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, Vakreshwar Pandit in the 4 respective parties. Sorry, there were 4 chanting parties that were formed. And there were many Mridanga players and dancers. Nityananda Prabhu was asked to dance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced. Advaita Acharya Prabhu danced. And there were singing by other devotees. Shivas Thakur. So it's very beautiful. And even today we can see a glimpse of this kirtan at the Rath Yatras that were all started by Prabhupada and what devotees conduct in many different places all across the world. So with this brief description of the Rath Yatra, I would end my talk, and we can discuss with any questions or any comments, or if anybody would like to hear something specific, I'll be happy to talk more about it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, please go ahead. No, it's okay. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. I was just trying to see our host Vinita Mataji. We can't hear you,
Yeah,
Mataji.
yes, Mataji. I joined from other device. I was thinking first I will try there, but it was not working. Thank you so much, Balaram Hari Prabhu, for last minute taking this class and enlightening on the topic of Jagannath Rath Yatra. The way you were explaining was so nice. Thank you so much. I request devotees if they have any questions and realizations, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. So beautifully explained, Prabhu. The part that when you started saying that Krishna was all comfortable back in Vrindavan and yet he had to leave, I was just thinking how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did the same thing. Bharat Maharaj, Rishabh Devan, thinking of Srila Prabhupada being so comfortable in Vrindavan and yet he as well left. So that was really, really a point of meditation for me. And about everybody else I have heard, but did not think about Krishna being comfortable in Vrindavan and leaving, him being a Bhagavan. So thank you so much. Just wanted to thank you, and you gave another point for meditation. So just thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is there anybody having any questions for Prabhuji? Please go ahead. And you can share if you have any realizations too.
Actually, if none other, there is, yesterday when Kirtida Mataji told me, there is one point she also added to talk about how the deity of Lord Jagannath came into existence. Would you all like to hear that?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhu, please.
I can briefly talk about it. So, what happened was, there was a king named Indradumna, and this king, in his dream, he was told to find the deity of Neelamadha, and he was asked to worship this deity of Neelamadha, but he could not find this deity of Neelamadha anywhere in his kingdom, anywhere close by. So then he asked some of his Brahmins to go and search. And then there was this one person named Vidyapati. So he went searching. And he came close to a place, a community named, he heard about Shabras. Now, Shabras are not from the higher level class according to the class calculation. They used to buy and sell pigs. So he went and looked for the head of this community. His name was Vishwasu. And when he went to his house, he saw that Vishwasu was not there. But then at that time, he met his daughter. And eventually, Vidyapati fell in love with the daughter fell in love with Vidyapati, and the proposal was made to Vishwasu, the daughter's father, that let's get them married. And he got them married. However, there was one thing that every day it used to happen. And the thing was that Vishwavasu, who was the head of the community, would go out every day in some unknown place for a few hours every day, and then he would come back. And when he would come back, he would smell very fragrant. Now, just imagine the whole community, their whole occupation is dealing with pigs. and fragrant and pigs, they don't go well together. But Vishwavasu was very fragrant when he came back. So Vidyapati was very curious to know what is the story behind this. So he asked his wife, Vishwavasu's daughter, that what is the secret behind this? He said he goes and worships Lord Neelamadhav. So he told that he told his wife that I would like to see, but his wife told that my father doesn't take anybody there. It's a very secretive place. But Vidyapati insisted, and after insisting, Vishwavasu agreed, I'll take you. However, there was one condition. He said, I'll tie a cloth around your eyes so you won't know where I'm taking you. He said, okay, no problem. But Vidyapati was smart. He told his wife, you give me a bag of sesame, give me a bag of mustard seeds. So, and he put a hole in the packet. So while going, mustard seeds, they kept on falling all the way to in the path. And they reached this nice cave, and they entered the cave, and he saw that it was very bright and effulgent. There he saw the deity of Neelamadhav. He was very happy. He said, now my job is done. Now I can go back to King Indradumna and tell him about this. He said, okay. He went back, and then he left the family and went to the king. The king came with his whole army and told the Shabras, I would like to see Neelamadhav. They said, we cannot take you. Vishwavasu said, I cannot take you there. But Vidyapati was smart. He had put all these mustard seeds. So by this time, the seeds had grown into little plants, and the whole track was surrounded by mustard plants. So the whole troop, along with the king, followed that path and went to that cave. Now, when they went to that cave, King Indradumna was very excited. Now he'll have darshan of Lord Neelamadhav, and he will be able to take the deity with him. He entered the cave and he saw there was no deity. When there was no deity, he said, catch hold of this Vishwavasu. Where is the deity? Then there was an announcement from the sky that I have disappeared. I'll come in a different form. You go to such and such river, and there is a big piece of wood that is there in that river. You take that wood and carve out the deities for me. And then I will take that form of Lord Neelamadhav. So he said, okay, I'll do that. So he saw, as said by the announcement, went to that river. They saw a big log of wood that was floating. So the king asked his soldiers to go and get it. But all the soldiers, along with other associates, they could not lift the log. That time Indradumna realized that there is something mystical. I might have offended a devotee of the Lord. Then he realized, I should ask Vishwavasu. And Vishwavasu, just by himself, he was able to bring the whole log to the shore of the river, and then they were able to take. Now they received the log, but they don't know how to carve the deities. So at that time, Indradumna said, he called up Vishwakarma, the chief architect of the demigods. He said, I would like to have deities made from this wood. And Vishwakarma said, okay, I'll be happy to make the deities for you. It will take me 21 days to make. However, and I'll work in such and such room. However, the condition is when I'm working, nobody should open the door. And if you open the door before 21 days, I will leave the work as it is and I will go away. And the king agreed. So he was working, they were able to hear the noise. However, after a few days, they didn't hear any noise. Tuk, 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 tuk. They didn't hear anything. 15 days passed. The queen of King Indradumna said, you should check what is going on. We haven't seen this person. He hasn't eaten anything for the past 15 days. Is he alive? Is he dead? We really don't know. The king said, no, we should not open. He'll go away. He might have not finished. We should wait until 21 days. But the queen said, no, you open. We need to figure out he hasn't even eaten anything. So the 15th day, they open the door. They open the door, Vishwakarma disappears. And then there are these three deities, Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. And these three deities are very unique if you see. They don't have fingers, their legs are not big, the eyes are big. So when King Indradumna saw, what is this? He didn't knew what this was. At that time, I think Narad Muni appears and he says that this is a bona fide form of the Lord. These three deities are Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. You should establish a temple for them and you should worship them. And that's how the temple of Lord Jagannath is established and the worship still continues. And how, one may ask, where are the forms of the Lord? Where are the arms of the fingers and the arms? Why the arms are such like this? If you look at the deities, we even don't see arms on Subhadra, on Mother Subhadra's hand, and the eyes are so big. So there is a story behind it. So once it happens that in Dwarka, all the wives of Krishna, they were wondering one time that all of a sudden Krishna, one fine day, he's just chanting the names of all the gopis. Hey Radhe, hey Vishakha, hey Lalita. He's just chanting these names. And they were wondering that Krishna loves them so much. So why does he love them so much? What did they do? They wanted to understand this. Now, there is only one person other than Krishna and Balaram who was at Dwarka as well as in Vrindavan, and that's Mother Rohini, mother of Balaram. So all these gopis, all the wives of Krishna, they go to Mother Rohini and they say, can you tell us some of the pastimes that Krishna had with the gopis? Because he was chanting the names of the gopis and he was very, like he felt unconscious and he was in ecstatic love and he was mad when he heard that. Mother Rohini said, I'll definitely tell you the pastimes. However, the condition is you need to make sure that Krishna and Balaram, they don't come here and hear what I'm going to say. All the wives said, yes, we will make sure. And Subhadra was asked to stand at the door to make sure that Krishna and Balaram doesn't come. And you know, when things like this are planned, but Krishna has a different plan. So then Krishna and Balaram were walking. And as Mother Rohini was talking about these pastimes, they were just outside. And as they were walking, they came to where Subhadra was. And as they heard the pastimes, their eyes became big. And out of ecstasy, their hands became loose. And they pulled it inward. So that is why. And because of that, Subhadra was actually, how do I say this? Was sandwiched between Krishna and Balaram. Because Krishna and Balaram became excited and so happy by hearing the pastimes, their eyes became big. That is how this form of Lord Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baldev came into existence, from just because they were hearing the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is another history related to Lord Jagannath and how the deities they came into existence. Of course, there are other minor details, or there are some other details that I haven't caught in this pastimes, but I'm pretty sure all of you might have heard these pastimes before, but they are always very nectarian to hear again and again. So I'll stop here and we can discuss any questions or any comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving that concept also of like how the Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra came into the existence, and this the narration of the story was so nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And when you're talking about Rath Yatra, I really like the menial service that we need to do to the Lord is when the Lord is going on, we clean the path for the Lord. So that how King was taking that position and he's doing it. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Everything that you told today is very, very nice. As you said, we already hear the story many times, but we keep on here to remember the Lord again and again so that we never forget him. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful session once again. Is there anybody having any questions for Prabhuji? Please go ahead. Questions and realizations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. All grace to Srila Prabhupada, all grace to Guru Maharajas. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Prabhu, I had one question over here. Like, we say that whenever we offer anything to the Lord, like the Lord does not wait to get offered, right? He will eat it instantly. So, Lord Jagannath, like when you make something, like we do offer, but then Lord Jagannath, he will eat it instantly. So then when we make something, sometimes, kids are like, before we offer it also, kids are like, okay, oh, you made this. So then does that contaminate the food, or how should we take that with respect to offering?
That's a nice question, Mataji. So these days, I have a 4-year-old son. And there is a question that is always often asked in my house whenever something is cooked or whenever he has seen something that is cooked. Is that offered? That's the first question that is being always asked. So in a conservative way, yes, that makes the food contaminated. However, gradually it is our responsibility to be patient with our kids and train them. We can take a look at how Prabhupada taught some of his early disciples. We see Mother Jamuna. She mentions in one of the videos in the memories that back in 1965, 66, they had visited Prabhupada for the first time in New York. And she was helping to cook Prabhupada. And then in the middle of the cooking, she just mentions, Swamiji, it's so hot here. And Prabhupada says, go and wash your hands. So in one sense, and then she says, Swamiji, can I go and smoke a cigarette? And then Prabhupada says, go and wash your hands. So gradually it does get contaminated. However, it becomes our duty as parents to train our children and be patient. Most importantly, be patient. Because that contamination won't hurt Krishna that much if we are rude to our children and children don't take Krishna consciousness just because they had a fanatic experience from their parents. So let's be patient. Let's train the children, and Krishna won't mind our offenses. Yes, the food gets contaminated. I won't say no to that. But when Krishna sees that the food that was offered was contaminated, but when children are being offered to him, who are trained very nicely, Krishna will really appreciate that. And he'll be more than happy to have contaminated food at that time, provided children are very nicely trained and brought up in Krishna consciousness. Does that answer your question, Mataji? It's very specific
More,
to children that I'm talking about.
yes, Prabhu, more than perfect. Rather, such a beautiful explanation you have given, like offering our kids to Krishna. It's really wonderful. That never clicked my mind. But then it's really, really wonderful answer, Prabhu. We'll really love to have you more on our classes, because the well so composed you were when you were giving classes. Because I know when it is Jagannath Rath Yatra and talking about Jagannath, we get so excited and there are so many things to share. But yet you were so composed and each and every point so much nicely emphasized. Really appreciate, Prabhu.
Actually,
And today,
the credit goes to Kirtida Mataji, because she gave me a list of things that I should only talk about. So that made things simple for me.
it's Lord Jagannath's mercy, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class, Prabhu. And we'll really love to have you more on classes. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. And a very perfect answer, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
So please try this. Gradually train your children. It's not complicated. You just, because when it comes to preaching and training children, it's very simple. If you put restrictions on the food, especially on prasadam, they'll be more inclined to have burgers and pizzas from outside.
Yes, Prabhu.
So so a little bit of planning on the parent side and being liberal, especially when it comes to prasadam. They should have multiple choices at home and enough sufficient quantity for them to consume. And then when their stomachs are full, they won't have taste to eat outside.
Awesome.
And then we have actually captured them. Then we can train them in Krishna consciousness. Then other processes will work. If this is faulty, nothing else will work.
Yes, Prabhu. And by mercy of the Lord, like my children, they love one service is to offering food to Lord. So it's their part that they offer food to the Lord always, like in the morning and the evening.
Yeah.
So at least that much they really love when they look forward to it. So please pray, Prabhu, that we can train our kids in Krishna consciousness in the perfect way and follow Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody has any other comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. So much potency in your class that not qualified to enter in Shri Ram Vrindavan or Sisi Jagannath Puri Dham, but you explain so nicely all the leelas. Hearing so much time, but still every time, Prabhuji, the sweetness, the nectar is coming from the preachers. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam to your sincere Siva. Hari Hari Gauranga, Jai Jai Jagannath.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we shall end our class here. We shall end our call here.
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Is there anybody having any more questions or realizations before we end the call?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for nicely explaining the past
Kamodaki
times.
Mataji. Is this Kamodaki Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kem છો તમે?
સારું છે. મેં જ્યારે જોયું કે બલરામ હરી પ્રભુજી ક્લાસ આપે છે. ચાલો સાંભળીએ જગન્નાથ.
Convey my regards to Jai Gaur Sundar Prabhu.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Happy to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
If there are no more questions and realizations, we can close the call for today. Thank you everyone for joining. I would like to offer my obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maiya ki jai. Balaram Hari Prabhuji ki jai. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, closing the call. Thank you, everyone. Hari Bol.